Finally, guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and wait, hang on one second. Okay, anyways, let's try it again. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are live, finally, for my live review of WWE Hell in a Cell 2021. I apologize that this is late, as yes, I was gonna review this one last night after NXT. Unfortunately, my friend asked me if I wanted to play Mario Kart for just a brief round with him, and I was gonna do it after Mario Kart. But then I ended up dozing off in the middle of a race because I was tired. And then when I get home from work today, I got tired. I took a nap. And after I sat down and briefly played a quick round of Mario Kart. So I had to finally just set it down, rest my inner eyelids, and I'm like, okay, enough is enough. I have to get caught up. So, finally going at it. Let's see what we can do here. So, Hell in a Cell took place this past Sunday, June 20th, 2021, and for the final time on a pay-per-view, I'll be saying, at the WWE Thunderdome at the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. This is the last pay-per-view to take place in the Thunderdome. We're almost out of the Thunderdome and back to a live audience. So, when I look back at Hell in a Cell, as you all know, of course, I did not have high expectations for this show. In fact, my expectations were even less than I did for WrestleMania Backlash. WrestleMania Backlash ended up being, for the most part, except for the zombies, a solid show. This show, see, here's the thing. This show didn't bore me. That's the thing. I wasn't bored during this show. And I won't say I hated it, but at the same time, I look back at it, and one, it was pointless, and two, I feel like there was some bad decisions made on this show. Mainly as far as finishes go. The results, for the most part, I expected. The finishes, though, I think is what hurt this. If the finishes were better, like a few things happened, I'd probably give the show a higher grade than it did. Because again, the thing is, I didn't hate this show completely. I wasn't bored. I felt like it didn't do a good job building towards what's next. It was one of those shows that was like, it didn't really like. There was no satisfying finishes. Nothing that like made you like want to see what's next, or that could have set something up for the future. I mean, after watching Raw, surprisingly, I tried to pay attention to Raw. I still regret it, but there was some things I felt. But I don't know. Like I said, it was one of those shows where it's like I came out, I wasn't bored, I wasn't upset that I watched it. But then when I look back at it, I'm just like, yeah, there was some things that did wrong that went wrong on this show. So it was a tough one for me to grade. And again, I wanted to be, lively and, active and not, sleepy to be able to talk about this. So I want to talk about it now and explain why I feel very mixed and why it was tough for me to grade this show. But first, let's check the live chat. What's up, Mark? Tyler did a rant on the show last Sunday, and he thinks this was the worst pay-per-view of 2021. You thought so? I don't know if I'd say it's the worst. Still probably leaning towards either Chamber or Fastlane, maybe. Could have been the worst. I'm not sure yet. Well, maybe more so Chamber. Maybe. I don't know. This still could have been. I don't know. It's a tough call for me at this point. Mark barely watched, and Tyler's going to review something better. Backlash 2001. Never saw it, but, I can tell you probably like the show and you want to do a review on it. Nice. But let's just go through this. And I'm going to do also Raw tonight, also. Do my Raw review. I doubt I'm going to do NXT, because I actually have a little bit of editing to do, so maybe besides, I have a turn alert to do from NXT anyways. So I think I'll save NXT for tomorrow night. Let's talk about the show. There was a pre-show match. I didn't watch it. It was Natalya and Mandy Rose, apparently. And I don't remember who won, but I heard it happen on the pre-show. The opening match was the Hell in a Cell match for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Bianca Belair and Bayley. So, credit where credit is due. A lot of people, including myself, believe that this should not have been inside Hell in a Cell. And the story, again, to me, was not worthy of Hell in a Cell. Bayley laughing obnoxiously at Bianca Belair for how many weeks. Why? I still don't know why. And I'm never going to know why. Because hopefully we're moving on from this feud, finally. But credit where credit is due, this was a pretty good match. Did it still need to sell? At times I still feel not really. But one thing I think, reason why I didn't hate this show completely, is the fact that I did feel like the wrestlers did try. They did try to work with what, they were given to work with. And I think this match was one of the most creative one I felt like. They had Bayley use, and even Bianca tried it as well, that backfired on Bayley, use Bianca's hair by tying it up, to things like a weapon, the Bayley's arm, or tying up to like a kendo stick, or they tied up to several things. There was a spot where they where Bayley got slammed into kendo sticks. I think it was the spot that everyone says that Bianca and that Bayley and Sasha botched in last year's Hell in a Cell match that they redid. I think he even whipped each other a couple times with the hair into the cage, I think. So what I liked about it was even though it still to me was not meant to be inside Hell in a Cell, these girls still made it work pretty good. The creativity that went into this match, I thought was spot on, pretty good. Bianca retained, as expected, and we move on from this feud. But again, like I said, I give them credit that even though this should not have been inside the cell, they really did try to have a good match. And they had a good match. I feel like it would have been ranked a little bit better if they didn't have it inside the cell, though. I still believe they need to. But for what they were given to work with, I still thought they did a good job. So, Bianca retains, as I expected. And who does Bianca fight with next? Well, it looks like they're going to be saving Bianca and Sasha for SummerSlam, which I still say Iron Woman match for SummerSlam. Someone said, I think I heard where someone said hair versus hair. That would be interesting, as Bianca's weapon is a hair, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I want to see Sasha Banks go bald either. But I would much rather see Iron Woman match. As far as Money in the Bank goes, I'd say either give Bianca a break, and don't worry about a SmackDown Women's title match. We're already getting a Raw Women's title match at Money in the Bank. We'll talk about that in a little bit. If she has to wrestle at Money in the Bank, I'd say just have her fight like Carmella. That's really the only other person I can see her wrestling is Carmella. So, cool, basically. guys to say. Second match, Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Not as good as their WrestleMania match, but still a good match. These two, good friends I know in real life, have excellent chemistry. They both make each other look pretty good. Some very sick counters. One of my favorite ones I still remember, I think, is when Rollins went for the stomp. Cesaro ducked, but Cesaro still caught Rollins' right leg. And on one leg, Rollins still did like a spinning like heel kick to the back of Cesaro's head. Which is a nice counter there. There was several good near falls from what I remember. I was begging to see Cesaro do that UFO again. He did not. He has not done it since WrestleMania. Hope he does it again at some point. Maybe he'll do that Money in the Bank, because I'm still predicting Cesaro to win Money in the Bank. Especially in front of a live crowd, that would give him a massive pop. If he got a massive pop at WrestleMania, give him Money in the Bank, of course, give him there. But then, of course, Rollins rolls up Cesaro and sneaks away with a roll-up victory. Surprise, I thought Cesaro would get the victory, but obviously, to kind of keep the feud going a little bit, I guess, like I said, I feel like, I'm not too sure, because if both the SmackDown singles feuds we got in this show is going to lead to, all four of them getting into Money in the Bank, because I am hearing rumors about Kevin Owens, but I'll address it in a second. But honestly, I feel like this feud's going to end with them, either having a qualifying match on SmackDown, or both of them could be, in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which, totally cool with. Or, if they want to have, Cesaro, I'd say, another suggestion maybe, if they do want to have these guys have a match at, SummerSlam, have Cesaro win the briefcase. Start SummerSlam with Cesaro and Rollins with the briefcase on the line. Cesaro wins there to end the feud. At the end of the night, he cashes in on Roman Reigns. Some long-term booking there, but, cool. But I'm not upset that Cesaro lost this. They still made him look good. But I think, this kind of gives, a little bit more sympathy for Cesaro, and just, adds, adds a little bit more twist to the story, I'd say. So I'm not upset that Cesaro lost this match. So yeah, Rollins gets a sneaky victory, and we move on to hopefully seeing Cesaro win Money in the Bank. Let's talk about this next match. The expected and anticipated worst match of the evening. Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler, 1-on-1. As far as the match itself goes, I expected this to be bad. And I think as I expected it to be bad, it wasn't as, embarrassing or insulting to watch. Because I feel like I got out of this match exactly what I expected. Shayna Baszler to lose. Alexa Bliss do some dumb, wacky crap. And, that's all. I'm sitting here, and I think, even though I'm trying to wrap my mind around what it is that just bothers me with what Alexa Bliss is doing all of a sudden is so bad. After some point, I actually was invested in what they did with Alexa Bliss. And I think I figured out why. So, there's a few reasons why I'm salty about this feud. Or about, this gimmick. And this feud and whatnot. First off, it's continuing to make Shayna Baszler look worse. I mean, at this point, can you make her look any more worse? She's taken how many... She is the queen... she's not the queen of spades. She is the queen of roll-up pins. I'd say 90%, or 95% maybe, of Shayna Baszler's losses on the main roster have been roll-ups. Gotta protect her. No, you're not protecting her. You make her look like a freaking dumbass. How many times has Shayna Baszler been rolled up while she has a submission locked in, and she acts like it doesn't happen. One too many times. It's happened so many times. It drives me nuts. And of course, to have like a throwaway feud for Alexa Bliss by having her just get like a jobbing victory over Shayna Baszler. But then, what else am I all of a sudden like so salty on Alexa Bliss's gimmick? I also think part of it because they basically buried the Fiend and transferred his gimmick onto Alexa Bliss. They took Bray Wyatt's idea and made it their own by giving it to Alexa Bliss. And you know what? Alexa Bliss, again, has needed a new gimmick. Something new. But when you basically just suck the life out of one person, Bray Wyatt, and put on Alexa Bliss, then, that makes me salty. Because, again, The Fiend should have been a megastar, and they ruined him. Like, if Bray Wyatt would come back anytime soon, I don't know if he ever will come back. Who knows? I've heard rumors supposed to be coming back, but I don't know. I don't think The Fiend would be a big hit anymore. I don't. And the fact that, they put it on Alexa Bliss because, obviously, Vince is in love with Alexa Bliss, that just makes me salty. But I think here's the biggest reason why I'm salty about this gimmick. I think a lot of people are too. I feel once the crowds come back next month, there's a lot of things they've done with Alexa Bliss they won't be able to get away with. Remember what I said when they first started teasing Alexa Bliss in this new gimmick? A lot of it to me, well, one, it felt very irrelevant because they tried using the mixed match challenge storyline with Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss, the love story in there. They tried to use it as part of the Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman feud. That just didn't work. It's like, okay, it was a brief little act, but it was nothing long term. And then when they had Alexa being possessed by the Fiend, for a while it just didn't feel organic. It didn't feel believable. It looked fake. And people say that wrestling is fake, which drives me nuts to me. It's like, okay, it's a normal TV show. But the job of these wrestlers is, again, they're not actors, but their job is to tell stories and make everything happen look believable. And, at beginning stages, to me, it was looking believable that Alexa Bliss would be possessed by the Fiend. To me, it just looked like she was just faking it. And there's a lot of things they've done with Alexa Bliss. And again, the one thing about the Fiend that made him feel organic is because they kept the goofiness and, the special effects to a minimum. They've tried going, like, beyond, above and beyond, doing all this crazy stuff with Alexa Bliss. Fireballs, the black stuff coming out of her mouth. They've had her, change personas on live TV, basically. And the thing is the Thunderdome, they can edit things easier. So, a lot of the stuff, they are able to do because they can edit it. Like, I'm pretty sure it didn't take Alexa Bliss, 3 seconds to, change her outfit and change her makeup and whatnot. So, that's a problem. They're not going to be able to get away with this once the crowds come back. Because it's back to live TV. It's not going to work. Really, it isn't going to work. So, that's the main reason. Because, again, they're doing a lot of things. They're going too far with it. And that it's not organic. And that when the crowds come back, they're going to be screwed with trying to make work what they make Alexa Bliss do work. Like this whole mind, possessing that she can all of a sudden do. Because, like, in this match, Shayna lost because she lost by distraction because Alexa possessed Nia. And then, for being possessed, Nia slapped Reginald across the face. But like I said, once again, it wasn't believable. And, it looked fake. Like, it looked like anybody could just look over at someone going, like, there's no lasers coming out. But again, it didn't feel organic. And that's a problem with Alexa Bliss's gimmick. The Fiend, they kept it to a minimum and didn't go too far where, obviously seemed, super fake. Here, it does. And once we get to live crowds, again, it's just not going to work anymore. So Alexa wins, but Shayna suffers, and Alexa's gimmick may suffer as well once crowds come back. So, definitely worst match of the night. I wouldn't say it's worst of the year. I think it's because, like, again, I went just expecting this to be bad, and I basically got what I got. I'd still maybe give the rub as worst match of the year either to Randy Orton and The Fiend, or the Zombie Lumberjack match at WrestleMania Backlash. 1 to 2. Moving on, though, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Good match. There was a little more of a story here, though, with this one. They had Kevin Owens come in, still selling the injuries he had suffered from Commander Aziz this past week on SmackDown when he took the Nigerian nail, having issues breathing, selling off his shoulder injury. And Sami Zayn took advantage of that throughout most of the match. Owens fought back, but wasn't able to do so. And Sami Zayn eventually won by hitting the haluva kick on Kevin Owens. Now, I was hoping Sami would win, because like I said, these guys have had plenty of one-on-one matches. Like I said, they need to have a gimmick match, a stipulation in a match. Now, I am hearing rumors that Kevin Owens taking a break. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I've heard some rumors. So that's why I'm thinking Owens may not be in Money in the Bank. Which, if they leave him out, what I'd say the story should be, because like I said, the story of this whole feud to me has been Kevin Owens trying to knock some sense back into Sami Zayn that there's no conspiracy theory against him. And, I'd hate to hear Kevin Owens make an excuse and say that well, Sami, you only beat me because I was rattled up that night. I'd still say maybe Sami goes to Money in the Bank, comes up short, goes to get on a conspiracy rant, and then Owens basically says, Sami, enough is enough. Again, you beat me while I was rattled, and then you can't win whenever people are not rattled, or whatever you want to say. I still say SummerSlam, and I want to make a video pleading for this. SummerSlam, especially if, again, the rumors are that Sami Zayn's contract is up in September. A lot of people don't think he's going to resign, but if you want to write off Sami Zayn, again, if he is not going to resign, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, I Quit match at SummerSlam. Again, it's a great ending to the story about how, no more excuses, no more conspiracies. Whoever loses on their terms. They choose to end the match by saying, I quit. No last man standing because, I had a conspiracy of holding me down, this is that. No. You said it yourself, you quit, you lost on your terms. That's what the story needs to be. Again, if they want to put both of them in Money in the Bank, go for it. They want to, settle the score, which is even right now, do I Quit at SummerSlam. That would be an excellent match, and if it ends up being Sami Zayn's last match in WWE, great way to go out. Although, if he chooses to stay and resign, though, still do the match, except have Owens win, and have Sami basically just just come to his senses, basically, and again, have Owens and Zayn reunite as a tag team. I'm still hoping for the Mysterios and the Usos to feud. Maybe you can have, the Usos and then Owens and Zayn feud. That'd be a very fresh and very unique feud. But, again, gotta do that I Quit match. Give them that pay-per-view stipulation. Again, if they book these two right, this could be a world title feud. I've said it for years. This could be a world title feud. Problem is they don't want to go all in on it. Well, they've definitely done better with Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn, they had their spurts here and there where they do something good with him, but they still just treat him as a comedy joke. A comedy joke that I'm sure Vince has laughed his ass off at. Like, Sami Zayn even said when he first turned heel, Vince wanted him to smile out there because that was what made people hate him more. Instead, just... Like I said, there was a time where Sami Zayn, to me, felt like he was another Enzo Amore. Just got the shit beat out of him for no reason. This is the same man who got thrown into a dumpster by Braun Strowman. Like I said, it baffles me. I'm tired of this heel gimmick for Sami Zayn. I'm tired of him just, not getting the respect he deserves. We all know he's talented. Again, I went back, like a year or so ago, whenever it was, and watched the previous NXT takeovers before I started reviewing NXT takeovers. Matches like him and Cesaro, him and Tyler Breeze, him and Neville, the Fatal 4-Way, I think with, can't remember who was all in it. For crying out loud, there were Sami Zayn. I freaking missed him. I missed that Sami Zayn. And, the where he is now, it's just... He's better off just going somewhere else. So like I said, what they had in the show was good. They always put on good matches. Was it their best? No. But it was still good. But like I said, at least put Sami in Money in the Bank. And then go on to SummerSlam. Wrap this feud up in an I Quit match. Please do I quit. Please do I quit at SummerSlam. It's the right ending to the story. Please. I will do a video again pleading to do that match at SummerSlam. Alright, let's move on now. Oh, man. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Raw Women's Championship. So, I did not hate this match. That I did not hate. The match. Everything except for the most important part. The match itself was great. Again, Rhea and Charlotte have excellent chemistry. I mean, obviously, Rhea and Asuka end up not, and like I said, it happens. There's some big names that sometimes just don't have the best chemistry. And unfortunately, Rhea and Asuka did not. It was a good try, but, they weren't going to put on classic matches. These women, obviously, these two know how to put on a great match together. They're definitely two of the best in the business. Of course, first off, one nitpick before I get to the finish. I am sick and tired. There's several, little pet peeves I have in wrestling. Such as people in triple threat matches saying, well, I wasn't pinned, so technically I never lost. It's it's the rules of a triple threat match. That drives me nuts. The whole thing of, if you want an opportunity, all you had to do was ask, also drives me nuts because I thought opportunities were earned. Number 3. Why in the hell is every time they hit a finisher right by the ropes, instead of pinning the leg to prevent them from putting their foot on the ropes closest to the ropes, they pin the leg away from the ropes. So they're asking for the match to continue. That drives me insane. And it happened in this match too. And I'm like, come on. Seriously? But let's talk about the biggest dagger, though, that really hurt this match for me. Again, excellent match. If the finish was done better, definitely would have been one of the strongest matches of the night. And one of the better women matches of the year, definitely. The match ends when these two women were brawling outside the ring. Rhea Ripley picked up the cover of the the announce table and hit Charlotte with it, causing a disqualification. See, here's the thing. I know some people didn't like that the cover was declared a DQ, because several people have been hit with the cover, like Randy Orton doing an RKO onto the cover. I get that. I don't know if it's because, well, the thing though is that people done like RKOs, like slam people through the announce table or whatnot during just a regular one-on-one match, and there's no DQ. To me, that'd be the same thing as like doing like an RKO or slamming someone onto a chair, basically. I don't know if it's because, they consider, you actually taking the weapon and, swinging it themselves, or I don't know. So, as far as being a DQ because as a weapon getting involved, I'm not going to argue that, even though, I do agree, people have used, people have been, not DQ'd by getting attacked in some ways, putting, them into the cover on the table. I'm not going to do that. What bugs me about this, what bothers me, is the fact that Rhea Ripley, and Tyler said it plenty of times to me, they basically try to pull a double turn right here. And to me, it makes absolutely no freaking sense. Rhea Ripley came across as a chicken shit heel. She took the cowardly way out and snapped on Charlotte and just started attacking her. These two started brawling like crazy. But then Rhea basically came out as the heel, and it made Charlotte look like the baby face. That does not work! For the millionth time, Charlotte Flair is not a freaking baby face. Especially when 1 week she's so arrogant, so full of herself, like 100% the character she needs to be, and then the next week you try to make her a superhero. It does not work. And it's like in 2018, when they tried to make Charlotte the face and Becky Lynch the heel. It did not work. It didn't work because there was truth. There was so much truth behind, the fans wanted to see Becky do what she did to Charlotte. They wanted to see it. Yet they tried to make Becky the bad person. They edited out the YouTube clip, but they even had Becky Lynch trash on the fans say, "Were you really behind me?" It's like, heck yes! For crying out loud, did they try to ignore the reactions Becky got at SummerSlam when she beat the crap out of Charlotte? They tried to just act like it didn't even happen. And they're trying to do the same thing here with Rhea Ripley. They've booked Rhea Ripley's dynamic so inconsistently on the main roster. 1 week she's a babyface, helping Asuka beat Charlotte to get in Charlotte's head. Next week, she's teaming with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler and act like a heel. The dynamics anymore in WWE are so off. It's just, it makes no sense. They literally booked Rhea Ripley exactly how she shouldn't be. And the thing also is Rhea Ripley should not be booked like a coward ever again in her career. And you want to know why? Because Rhea Ripley beat Shayna Baszler's team at War Games 4-on-2. 4-on-2! She beat them in War Games 4-on-2, and yet I don't get it. I don't get it. They literally booked Rhea Ripley like she was something else when she won the NXT Women's Championship. She felt like she was on a whole other level by having a dominating victory 2-on-4 inside the War Games match. They had her as NXT Women's Champion fight at WrestleMania. Had they ever let anyone do that? No. Not even the NXT Championship has gotten that chance yet. They let Rhea get that chance. But she lost to Charlotte, and it was just they just toned her down again. Why? Why did you have, Rhea Ripley, who was just white hot, literally on a whole other level, and now she just feels like she's just one of the girls. She's not able to win matches one-on-one that she definitely could win one-on-one if you booked her like the badass she was, and being the cowardly heel. while Charlotte Flair is being treated like the babyface. And that's not how it needs to be. And because of that, Charlotte's getting an obligated rematch at Money in the Bank. How on earth does that make Charlotte Flair a babyface? Basically nitpicking at the smallest little things that the crowd just, will continue to boo her for. And they want her to be the babyface in this feud. It does not work. It doesn't work. Here's what I will say, though. Again, obviously I know these two are going to have an excellent match. What I ask for, though, is they are getting a rematch at Money in the Bank. And the match I think they should do, based off of how they ended this, even though, again, it was not the right way. Last woman standing. I think these two can put on a good last woman standing match. So, they may have blown it with the finish here in this match, but if they really want to redeem themselves, last woman standing at Money in the Bank. I'm gonna put it on my printed card when I get to it. So yeah. So that's that match. Again, great match, horrible finish, and just horrible way to book Rhea Ripley. Definitely. They're gonna try to make her a heel now, but wait till the crowds come back. They're gonna cheer her like crazy. Like I said, she's going to feel like the next Becky Lynch with how she's going to be booked. As in, trying to make her the villain. Yeah, it's not going to work. Fans are going to cheer her and boo the hell out of Charlotte. So, I'm not doing a turn alert. Try to make her a heel all you want. It ain't going to work against Charlotte Flair. And finally, the main event. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley winning means that Drew McIntyre is no longer able to challenge for the WWE Championship as long as Bobby Lashley remains champion. This is good. I'll say this way. It wasn't the best Hell in a Cell match in the world, but I thought it was good. Although a good amount of it in the first half was Drew McIntyre definitely battling Bobby Lashley, which I know some people weren't the biggest fan of because Bobby Lashley is supposed to be basically booked like Brock Lesnar. But then again, this is Drew McIntyre we're talking about, who beat Brock Lesnar in 5 to 8 minutes at WrestleMania 36 to win the championship. So obviously, he can hang and push someone like Bobby Lashley to his limits, which I'm fine about that. What hurt this match to me, though, again, was the finish and the involvement of MVP. The weapons was used good. I think the use of the cell was fine, but then the involvement of MVP is what bugged me about this match. Because the whole idea of this is MVP has been costing Drew McIntyre his matches. So, why would we want to see MVP again cost Drew McIntyre the match and Drew McIntyre could basically do nothing about it? Because, he can't challenge for the title anymore, but why we want to see him continuing to basically kind of be in the circle of the feud and then make him feud with someone with MVP. Now it's the way that match is booked with Lashley getting that royal victory at the end, and again, because of the involvement of MVP. Now it's okay, you want to see McIntyre get his comeuppance, but we all know McIntyre can beat MVP. Anyone's going to beat MVP in the ring. MVP is the manager now. Yes, he was great in the ring at one point, but he's not what he used to be in the ring. But now it's like Drew never gets his revenge. He can't get his comeuppance now, basically, because the same thing happened. If somebody was going to interfere, I'd rather be someone different. That way, Drew has a completely different direction to go to. Some people wanted to be Kofi Kingston based off of MVP, based off of how MVP was trying to rattle up Kofi Kingston to basically, join him and take his side, basically. It wasn't going to happen. Or again, even though I feel like this would have still been super dumb, should have done Jinder Mahal. Again, I'll talk about my Raw review, but where it looks like it's going, I'm thinking next we're going to see a Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal feud. Even though I'm not for it, it's like, it's whatever. They could have started that here, but they didn't. But yeah, like, why have the finish basically the same thing? It's like nothing was accomplished. We all know how many times MVP would interfere, Drew McIntyre would lose. It's like Drew can't challenge for the title anymore. He's not going to ever get his comeuppance, and he basically lost because of the same reason. So to me, it wasn't fresh. And that's what kind of bugged me out to finish this match. Still not bad of a match in general, but the finish to me was like, well, what's next for Drew? I mean, yes, he's in the Money in the Bank qualifying match, but it's like, why could he be in this ladder match? The only way he would be a person to be able to challenge is the Universal Champion, because he can't challenge Bobby Lashley again for the title. So that made no sense. But, like I said, Hell in a Cell 2021, the wrestlers itself, I can tell they tried. But some finishes, to me, just really hurt this show. That's why I'm going to give it just a C. I'm pretty sure it would be more so like C+, B- if the finishes were better. Because like I said, this wasn't... I didn't hate this show. I felt like when I was watching, they were trying. But like I said, the outcomes and things, some things just didn't fit. Like, especially Rhea and Charlotte, and the ending to McIntyre and Lashley. I was not a fan at all of Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler. Everything else was fine, but like I said, something was a little bit off with those things. So I gave it a C. And, yeah, that's going to do it for my review for Hell in a Cell. I'll check the live chat here, then I'll take a few-minute break. Actually, I think I'll take a shower first, and then I will come back here and review Raw. Because I actually, dumb idea, but I actually did watch Raw last night. And I'm going to try to actually give it a grade. But I'll talk about that after my shower. But I gave this show a C. What the heck? My girlfriend is texting me the most awkward thing in the world. I'm not going to say out loud on here, but... Anyways, live chat. Before I go off the air. Let me see here. Can we get Bayley away from the SmackDown Women's title picture scene? I'm sure we are going to be now. She may be in Money in the Bank, but I'm pretty sure she's not going to be in right now. I think WWE should not let Seth be another Hell in a Cell match, is what happened in 2019 with The Fiend. I mean, that's not really his fault. I mean, I did want to see Cesaro and Seth Rollins, but I don't blame Seth for that. That was a booking decision. Well, even though he did say that, it could, going too far, was necessary, and that's what it should have done with Mick Foley, just all that bullshit. So, somewhat agree with that, but not completely agree with it. I got 4 worst matches of the year so far. What happened to the 2016 everything, who knows? Next month, say goodbye to the Thunderdome. This is the second Roman's title match. It's stupid because since it's not a stipulation match, it's just going to end the same way. It could, like I said, that's why I say make the Money in the Bank match with Rhea and Charlotte last woman standing, as it should be, to avoid another DQ from happening again, because they made such a big fuss about it on Raw on the other night. Drew can't win the Money in the Bank briefly because we all know he's winning the triple threat next week. It's cashes on Bobby Lashley. I'll talk about that, of course, in my Raw review. Tyler gave it a 3 out of 10, and then Mark gave Hell in a Cell a D. Like I said, I gave it a C. It didn't bore me, but like I said, the outcomes, I think, was what hurt this show. They weren't they weren't the worst ones. It's not like Extreme Rules where they were super duper hokey. These were just I hated it, but it wasn't the worst I've seen. But, that's here or there, near anywhere. But that's going to do it for my Hell in a Cell review, guys. Let me take a quick break, take a shower. I'll come back and review Raw. I think I'm just going to save the NXT stuff for tomorrow night. Again, I'm sorry, guys. It's just, again, overtime. I'm beat. I am just, I'm exhausted. And, I can only do so much. So, Raw review after my shower. I promise. No Mario Kart until I do that Raw review. So that's going to do it. What are your thoughts on Hell in a Cell, guys? Again, gave it a C. Again, mostly the finishes hurt the show for me. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. Till then, guys, check it out. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you in my Raw review. Peace out, everybody.